Welcome to session 3 of the meditation series. I hope that it's proving useful to you. I haven't got any feedback about any questions, or so it either means that you're getting the emails and not watching them, or maybe you're getting the emails and getting it and just enjoying your experience, or it's elementary and a review for you anyway, so no questions. So that's all fine, just how it is. And often that's one of the fruits of meditation, is to engender that place of equanimity within, so that we're not attached to results or pushing things away too hard. Meditation certainly doesn't change the circumstances of life. They will continue to be what they are, but it certainly does change our response to life. So welcome, and I hope this serves you. God, Great Spirit, Timeless One, thank you for this moment, which is this life, and this life, which is this moment. May I see what needs to be seen. May I do what needs to be done. I humbly ask for humor, wisdom, love, patience. And please wake me so that I am conscious in this dream. So as we just start here with a little bit of information and talking, just get yourself centered. So we'll do our listening from an embodied place. So set yourself up in your meditation posture, whether that's sitting on a chair with your knees and hips at 90 degrees and your feet flat on the floor, or in some variation of cross-legged posture that feels comfortable, and so that you can have your spine erect. So I start with a prayer, and prayer can be in a form of meditation. Meditation is a term that can encompass both dharana, which is contemplation, or training the mind on a particular thing. It can also, and whether that be a deity, or a prophet, or a saint, whether that be an idea, could be a feeling, a sensation. That's what this class focuses on, is mostly mindfulness meditation, because when we're can become aware of awareness itself in the present moment of the felt state, then that becomes a foundation for all the higher realms, all the higher work or experiences. And then dhyana, so that place, and I think often we think of, we talked about this before, meditation, that you're supposed to have, all the thoughts are supposed to still, and then you get in this timeless pool of love. And of course, we all would love to dive into that, and that is could be said to be our ultimate goal, is coming from that place of loving responsiveness in the moment to, and living our right action spontaneously, without the interference of overthinking or over-controlling. All of these things are perfectly valid, and meditation can be done simply for its health benefits, for the mind, and the heart, nervous system, or it can have that higher goal. But what it does show up, and one of its best uses, is to realize that we become what we repeat. I was just reading a quote that Anne Brand, if you don't know Anne Brand, she's an excellent mindfulness teacher, and she was using some research, I don't remember the source, that 45% of our thoughts are spent worrying. And, you know, that's an extraordinary number, you know, almost spending half our time worrying. Man, the chances are we're going to miss our life, right? If you live 100 years, 45 of those are spent worrying. That just does not sound like a good time. And so we become what we repeat, you know, and we can become worriers, and we repeat, and that over and over and over can be any of these patterns can be a hard thing to break. So how do we anchor ourselves in something that is life-affirming, that serves us and others? And again, that could be a prayer. So for example, the Serenity Prayer is the best antidote to stress that I know. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Like my house freezing up 2 days ago, freezing solid, all the radiators cracking and no heat. And now my friend is helping to deal with the fallout. I maybe had control of that before by handling things better in my household, so that didn't happen, or was less likely to happen. But now that it's happened, I don't need to worry about it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. Who are the best people to come in and fix this mess? Do I have the money to pay for it? Will insurance cover it? So getting busy with the actions that I can take to change the situation, and the courage to know the difference. So that's that discerning mind. That's being able to watch the thoughts and go, oh, no, not that one. That's not helpful. Okay, I hear, you know, it could be the inner critic saying, you know, you dumbass, you should have handled that problem. It's like, okay, duly noted, thank you. Yes, I'm bad and wrong. I should have really handled that, but not super helpful right now. The courage to have, having that discernment between what are the useful thoughts and what are the not useful thoughts. Which direction are we going to put ourselves in? That is our choice, our responsibility, our life, our gift. And I would suggest that it's one of the best things we can do is to watch the thoughts in their way with care. And many, many years ago, 40 years ago, I was in a bookstore, my favorite bookstore in Vancouver, Banyan Books, and always used to buy a lot of books about spirituality and meditation and spiritual teachers and mind-body stuff. And it turns out the thing I remember most was from a bookmark that they put in the book when you buy it. I love it when they do that. So it's from Buddha Dharma. The thought manifests as the word. The word manifests as the deed. The deed develops into habit. And the habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its way with care, and let it be born of love and respect for all beings. Now, I thought that used to mean all beings out there, but it means this being in here. This is actually where it starts. Love and respect for all beings, starting with ourselves. So we truly do become what we repeat. If you repeat something over and over enough, it creates a new pattern. It's like water running down a hill. You've got a newly graded hill. You know the water's going to run down just kind of wherever, but over time, it's going to start to wear a groove in the path of least resistance, or what it did before. And the nervous system is like that too. We have habitual ways of moving, and that's that hardening into character. You can see you can see the heart on the face. There's a Cambodian saying, if you want to know the matters of the heart, look to the face. So our face will show the accumulation of thoughts over the years. You know, am I worrying? You know, concentrating, worrying? Am I open? Am I, you know, it'll show up in the face. So there's this correlation between the spiritual teachings, like that Buddha Dharma, and you know, neuromuscular physiology, and the functioning of the nervous system, the fight or flight and freeze response. All these things weave together. So we can approach them in the way that makes sense for us. If you're like, focused mostly on health and how the mind works and how the muscles work, then you can do meditation with that intent, and it will lead you to the right place. You can also take the spiritual component and follow it completely, and it will lead you to the right place. So have faith and trust in yourself. So, love and respect for our own selves. So there's a meditation, the loving kindness meditation. It comes from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and it's not my area of study. I've never studied under a Tibetan meditation teacher. I mean, the closest I've ever got to is to hear the Dalai Lama speak at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, which was amazing. And another story too. I thought I wasn't even going to make it, and I made it. But it also, so that's the spiritual side of it, loving kindness, Tibetan Buddhism. But also, if you've heard of heart math, Doc Childry, they have done a lot of research in heart-brain resonance and how the felt sense in the heart space changes our physiology and changes our nervous system. So this meditation, the loving kindness meditation, can be viewed from either side, the neurophysiological side or the spiritual side, and it's effective. So you may have already done this. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but we'll do a brief loving kindness meditation. I'll guide you in that. And then we will talk about Japa, mantra repetition. And then that'll be a wrap for this week. So, you're already in your meditation position. So you can drop your attention inwards, freeing up the breath, tracking the breath. Allowing the breath to deepen, and on each exhale, just letting go of any tension that you feel is accumulated, especially in the neck and shoulders and face. Maybe you're very calm and resonant and practiced, and you're dropping right into that peaceful, calm warrior inside. Or maybe your mind's flitting about like a bird. Wherever you are, just let that be. And then draw your attention back to the body, to the breath. And to the sensations, the singing of the bird, the weight of your clothing. Okay, we're back to where we were. Life happens all around us. And then we draw our attention back to loving kindness, generating that within ourselves. So how do we do that? And HeartMath teaches us that as you imagine something, there's a part of your brain that doesn't know the difference between imagining something and actually doing it. It will generate all the feelings as if you're actually doing it. So we can generate a feeling of loving kindness or appreciation by recalling, imagining a person that you love or care about. Could be a pet, a loved one obviously, or a time when you felt like an overflowing of love. And you can bring your hand to your heart space if that's comfortable. Just resting there as you bring your attention to this part of your body, to your heart. So if you're visualizing and remembering that person or pet or experience that filled you with love, hold that in your mind's eye as clearly as you can and breathe into where your hand is resting in the center of your chest. Allowing the breath to expand through your heart space. And notice the sensation of that, if it's a bubbling or a lifting up feeling or a warmth or a feeling of flow. As you notice that sensation of appreciation and love, have it flow from your heart into the rest of your body, into the rest of your being. Bringing that love and appreciation to yourself. And it's not conditional. It's not because you're a good person or because you did this or that. You exist. You are a human on this earth. Therefore, you are lovable. So hold that in your awareness as well as you can. That love and appreciation for who you are, just as you are, right here, right now. And now allow that sensation of love to spread out to the people that you love in your life. Members of your family, friends, anyone that you love and are close to. Send that love and appreciation towards them as you hold them in your awareness. Breathe it into your heart space and out of your heart space. And now allow that love to broaden out into your community. So the greater community, the town or city that you live in, to the people that you know and that you don't know. In your community. Resting your awareness in the space of the heart and the feeling of appreciation and love for your community. Now, as we let that feeling expand ever more and more, we expand it into our country. So all the people of the country that we live in, the people that share the same culture as us, the same borders, bring that awareness of your heart space and the love you have there and spread it out to all those people in your country. Feeling your heart expand as you do that. Let it be easy. And now cast that love out to the whole earth, all peoples in all cultures and countries, the whole globe, all of humankind, sending love. And it comes out of that foundation of love within ourselves, for ourselves, as that felt sense in our heart. And from there to our friends and loved ones, to our community, country, and world. Spread it around. Breathe love in and breathe love out. And if you brought your hand to your chest, just lower it now to your lap or your legs as we complete that meditation. How was that for you? So if we practice repeating love, that becomes a more ever-present quality to our lives. And that feeling, that dharana of love, compassion, is included in all spiritual paths of all cultures that I'm aware of. And now we will bring our attention and discussion to Japa, or mantra repetition. And Japa is simply, but very beautifully, the repetition of a sacred word as a replacement to the habitual thoughts. So far we've been focusing on sensation, we've been focusing on the breath as something to concentrate on, or on the feeling of love. In Japa, or mantra repetition, we are taking a word and we're repeating it over and over. And so this also is included in both Eastern and Western spiritual traditions. I looked it up a little bit because I knew that the Christian mystics had some very deep meditation practices, but I'm not familiar with them. And Saint Augustine was one of those saints, and he's the saint that we talked about with the cup, throwing the cup in the ocean, and Saint Teresa. And they both have practices that stem from, interestingly, the dharana, or the contemplation of God is within. God is within. So that is the same teaching that the yoga tradition has, which is what's reflected in the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. So it's, you could say, I bow to God within. It's understood, of course, that the God within is the God without, and which is the God that is omnipresent. And so to repeat Om Namah Shivaya is to instill in our spirit and in our cells and our nervous system the belief or the understanding that God is within. I bow to the God within. Obviously, we're not talking about the ego. Ego is a manifestation of God, but we're not saying that God within is your ego. We're saying in your deepest sense of self, if we strip away everything else, we are left with love, we are left with self, we are left with God. Other Christian meditations consist of prayer, heartfelt prayer, and again with prayer, all traditions, Hindu, Muslim, Jainism, Judaism, all have prayer, of course, and a heartfelt prayer, if it has the heart sense in it, will create both neurological and spiritual change. We can repeat something, I don't want to say robotically, mechanically is the word, mechanically, without the rasa, without the feeling behind it, and it's still valuable, because sometimes we need to uncover layers. It's like wading through all the stuff, and the anchor is the mantra. The anchor is like the breadcrumb, or the string that you string behind you, and then somehow it's stringing in front of you too, and you're following that, and you're kind of going through, maybe you're going through dark places or complicated places, but it's the string. And so sometimes maybe you're mechanically just following it. I'm going to follow this because I got nothing else. Or sometimes you might be following it because you see a sudden vista open in front of you and you know you're on the right path. But either way, the mantra is an anchor in that understanding that God is within. So japa is the Sanskrit word for mantra repetition, and ajapa, put an A in front of it, ajapa is japa without repeating the word. So after a time of repeating a mantra, you will notice that when you repeat the mantra, you get a sensation, a feeling, a felt sense, maybe an enlightening feeling, or a feeling of flow or connection or love. And so then that sensation without the mantra is a japa. So in that way, the mantra repetition can train us to attain the state that we get with mantra repetition at any time and at all times. By the japa, the mantra repetition, generating a felt sense in the body, we come to recognize that felt sense, like, that's home base. And then anytime a stress is coming whack at us, we can recall, and it's a somatic recall and a cognitive recall. We can remember, oh yeah, that felt sense, and then we can generate that felt sense, and we can bring ourselves into a more responsive, capable, loving place in a stressful situation. So We won't be covering chanting in this class but I would like to do some live chanting in the studio before too long. Chanting a mantra is a very powerful way to instill it within our cells, because the chanting is like the lazy man's way. I really love it because the chanting creates like a pranayama. The exhale becomes a certain length because of the line of musical sounds you're making with the mantra, and the inhale and the exhale. But we'll explore that another time. So in the first or second class, I talked about so-hum. The so and the hum on the inhale and the exhale. And it's basically I am. Om Namah Shivaya is the other mantra that I am going to offer you. It's the mantra that is offered by many spiritual teachers. It is the mantra of my guru, or Shaktipat master, whatever you would want to call it. Some of those things could be trigger words, but the person that kind of I described in maybe the first class, that gave me that experience of awakening. So I'm able to anchor that experience with that mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. Again, the home base, or the thread before and behind us that takes us from and to the goal. You might already have a mantra, in which case this will be just review and practice. Or you may go on a quest to discover a mantra. So I don't recommend you choose a word like love, 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 love. You could, but your mind will find all sorts of reasons not love. Love, not love, not love, yeah, love, not love. Right? Like, it might not always land, right? Or you're like, love, 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 you know, when you're feeling mad or tired or stressed. So by repeating a word that is in another language helps you get out of this frontal lobe, which is overused. We really need to the frontal lobe when we're doing something like following a recipe to cook a class, or engaging in complex tasks of some kind, especially new ones. But it's not so useful when we're meditating. We want to go back and in, and a word in another language will help to stop you from analyzing it and interpreting with that part of the mind. It is also said that there are some languages that hold a special power because of the way that the languages are used, and because of the culture that those languages come from. So Sanskrit developed from a very spiritual viewpoint, and so the words are said to have great power. And I've had some extraordinary experiences just reading Sanskrit words, not knowing what they mean, and have experiences and emotions come up that I can't explain. So it could be just the beauty of the sound, but it is also said to have spiritual power. There are other sacred languages. I believe there's some more. Hebrew would be one. I'm sure there's others. Latin, maybe ancient Greek. So you can look for your own mantra and let it come to you. It'll probably start to, it'll come to you when it comes to you. But let's start with Om Namah Shivaya. So what we will do is to meditate like we have been doing. We're in our grounded and expanded physical posture. We're aware of our physical sensations so that it's an embodied state, not a disassociated state. And we're aware of our breath. And then we repeat the mantra once on the exhale and once on the inhale. If your mind is very busy and that's not fast enough, you can repeat it over and over. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Or you can repeat it internally, Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Okay? So do that silently to yourself. You could do it out loud at the beginning if you want to hear the word. If it's an unfamiliar Om Namah Shivaya, you want to say it out loud so that you can hear that word, to really instill it in your mind, and then you'll be able to hear it silently as you repeat it. And we'll sit in meditation repeating that mantra for some time. It will not be very long, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll conclude this class. it there. You may have found it hard to remember to repeat it and had your thoughts flitting to other things. Or maybe you were just getting into the feel that that could engender. Regardless, we're not meditating for results per se. You will just notice the fruits of your practice as they come. So maybe after that brief time, you could check in. Well, how do I feel different? Did that change me at all? For me, it brought me to a more embodied place, a feeling of solidity through my trunk and an expansiveness through my head. But I've repeated that mantra for many, many years, so it's a familiar home base for me. So that's Japa. Now, if you would like to take on a home practice, I suggest finding or choosing a mantra. Could just be Soham. It's a good place to start. Om Namah Shivaya, or another one that you have. And spend 5 minutes a day, any time. But sit in the meditation posture. Follow the instructions from the first class for grounding and expansion, length of the spine, mindful breath and awareness, and then Japa repetition. And just noticing a before and after. So in that way you see the fruits of your practice. Some meditation practices take months or years to develop fruits from, but I think you will notice that the things that we've been covering will grant you, I don't want to say instantaneous, but you will find that the fruits are immediate, more calm, more centered, more aware would be my hope. Good. So thank you for joining me. Next week we will do a recap and an integration, and then finish with a guided meditation meeting the inner teacher. So until then, Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. I honor my teachers who have shown me, pointed me to the light. Namaste. I honor your practice. Be well, and I'll see you next time.